All right. Hey, everybody, thank y'all for tapping in to Street Ball to Pro with your host, Ballerholic, and your man, Coach Rich Paul. Our guest today is my brother, my right hand man, my assistant coach, Mike Wilson, or Coach Mike. You know what I mean? He's in Canada. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So,
Mhm.
you know, we're gonna go down memory lane as well as just talking, you know what I mean, like real, like what's up, you know what I mean? When you begin to understand what it takes to be a pro, you know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing. When everybody, our platform is Street Ball to Pro, folks understand, when we see Ballaholic, and the first thing everybody think is and one. Love and
Yeah.
one. I'm a big fan of and one. They're a major, part of basketball history and always will be. The thing is, Street Ball to Pro, the difference is we're not to say that they wasn't pros, but it's a different level of pro when you're on the hardwood the way that we're doing overseas, and you know what I mean. The
Mhm.
D1, the D League, the NBA. So that's our, if you want to say, more of our focus, and then we will have a street ball team. You know what I mean, that will compete with in main events, street ball
Black
league.
tie. Yeah.
Yep. So, but we're on, like I said, we just want everybody to understand we have best of both worlds. You know what I mean? So we got my man Coach Mike on because he was somebody who was with me, and when I got, when I was started, and we're gonna talk about how we met, and then we're gonna go down like some real things. So, Coach Mike, you gotta, I gotta let you speak because it's crazy our story on how we met. So we gotta, before we go there, I'll let you tell them who you are about yourself, and then we're gonna go there. We're gonna start with how we met.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Hey, I'm Michael Wilson. So I'm originally from Alabama. I moved up here to Canada in '95. So I was actually stationed in the Army. I was stationed at Fort Lewis. So um, met my wife down there, and I decided to get out. And then my wife's from North Vancouver here, and so I decided to. I had a job up here, so I was like, "Hey, man, I got a wife and a daughter, so hey, I got to go where the bread is." So,
Yep. Yeah.
so, um,
Mhm.
so one of the things, play sports my whole life, right? Hooper in the Army, play flag football and all that stuff, and then I kind of got into the coaching realm, with my daughter and stuff, and then I coached a little bit in the Army too, and then yeah, so and yeah, that's just kind of like who I am now. And then currently, like I work as the recreation program manager in my
Mhm.
wife's community, which is Tsleil-Waututh Nation, which is in North Vancouver, which is people of the Inlet. And so I've been working for them for like 20 years, and I'll start giving a little backstory. So what happened was I hired a personal trainer and group fitness trainer to run our fitness program. And she, we were just talking. She was like, "Oh yeah, you're into basketball." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Hey, I got this friend of mine, and I'm on this panel, and we got a guy who used to play for Syracuse, and his name was Roosevelt Bowie. You a New Yorker, right?"
No,
Oh no, no.
Oh,
he's
okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So he played at Syracuse, and they used to have like back in the '70s, and he played with Louis Orr, and I,
Mhm.
I know yeah. So Louis Orr, so they were called Louis and Bowie, and so yeah, you might. I was like, oh yeah, I know who that is, and so she's like, oh yeah, hey, he's looking for someone to scout out west to get players to go overseas.
Yeah.
So so I was like, oh okay. So what's the plan? And say, hey, we're gonna go to the 3-on-3 tournament in Spokane, and we're gonna go there first. And so we went out there and we are like scouting players and stuff, and then some of the guys that we were scouting, they were like, oh hey, if you really want to get the best players, well, you need to go to the Seattle Pro Am, which is next
Mhm.
week. So yeah, so the next week we went down to the Seattle Pro Am, and so I was talking to a couple of guys that kind of like ran it, and that was Hey, what was them dudes that was red wine and
Yeah, legend.
Red
Yeah,
wine.
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
Coach Red Wine. Yeah,
oh,
rest in peace,
rest
Coach.
in peace, right? Yeah, he's passed away now, but they were kind of like the main guys who were like, they was like the OGs, like how you just know somebody's running stuff.
Yep.
Hey, I was like, hey, look, we're looking to scout players, and boom, boom, and start talking to him. He's like, and they like kind of gave me the okay. They was like, all right, man, okay, okay, we'll check you out, see if you legit. So
Right.
then I had a list of players, and then I ran into Coach Ashley. So I was like, oh hey, here's what I'm doing, boom boom, and I said here's some of the players that I scouted, and he looked on there, and there was like 3 players that was actually on his team.
Oh
So
wow.
right, yeah. So he's like, okay, you know how to scout talent, all right, okay. All right, so then I went to a bunch of other coaches, and then and that was kind of like how we hit it off, and then I don't know, we just and then we just start, when I would come to watch games, like we would always find a way to be able to connect, and so I started watching the team, and then then we found out it's like, oh, we both served in the Army, and so that was connection. So we're like, okay, all right, okay, well I know where you came from anyway. So then discipline, accountability, structure, responsibility. So you had to have all that stuff. So that was like, that was the key to the key to us getting together. And then I don't know, just from there, man, we just connected. I don't know, we just connected, and like, I don't know, I think sometimes there's some things you can explain, and there's some things that you can't. It's probably like how you guys are now. When you guys were talking, you've talked to all kind of other people, and then you guys was like, no, I need to talk to, no, I need to stay in touch with you because we talking the same business here. So
Right.
so
Right.
and you could also one of the things I think is that you can filter through your experiences and stuff, who's for real and who's not.
Yep.
Right, you can figure that out like pretty quick, and it don't take like a long time. There's some people
Right.
they can only fool you some of the time. They can't fool you all of the time. Right.
Exactly. Right.
Yep.
And I told that to coach too. I told him like, yo, it's sometimes when you meet somebody from that first time, you can already feel a certain type of energy.
Yep.
And I'm big on that. It just, I feed off of people's energy, and I could just feel it for some reason. But when just hearing them talk, like how he was talking, I was just like, this dude seemed real. He seemed genuine how he came at me.
Right.
I could feel the energy I could feel it was different.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, you know what I mean? And just the vision that he had. And then, of course I did my homework on him.
Yeah.
And it just sounded perfect because I kind of had the same vision for getting back to the street ball scene, or just getting back to basketball period. But just everything that he was just talking about he wanted to do besides playing basketball. It was helping other guys. And that's part of my vision. After I got done playing at some point, I wanted to help these guys that I know get on, or how would I be able to give back to these young athletes or guys who don't know as much. We were talking to a guy the other day, one of his old players, and he didn't know that he can get paid for the Dominican side that he's mixed with and the American side. He said he didn't know. So that's where guys like me will come in and advocate for guys who don't know for certain things like that. They have it. I'm pretty sure it's already out there, but it's not even promoted that way. An example of the TBL, they promote different types of seminars, and a lot of these athletes they don't go to because they don't care. Yep. And then those are the seminars that they need to go to, because when they go to these different countries, it's something that small going to seminar it can make sense. You know what I mean? From, what not to do, what to do, and how to spend money. Because even nowadays, it's going up overseas. I think they're getting rid of the currency overseas now, some of them. So they need to know that, because if they go, it's like, yo, I didn't even know. It's like, well, see, this is why, you know what I mean? Little stuff like that. So, it's very important that you have those kinds of positive reinforcement, man, especially for the new generation nowadays of athletes, right? So,
yes.
That's real big.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, like I said, like with Coach Mike, just how same thing, how genuine and just transparent and truthful he was. You know what I mean? That's my biggest thing. You know, as a player, I feel like, and I've always been like this, and he can attest, you can attest, all my players, I feel like I'm protected. You know what I mean? This is, I'm responsible for these guys. You know what I mean? So if I said I'm gonna help you to get to the next level, and just because somebody say, "Oh, I got this for you," hold on, man. You know what I mean? In this business, you hear this all the time. You know what I mean? That's one thing that I try to be, you know, as far as integrity, be a brand of integrity. You know what I mean? So I'm like, look, I'd rather let me look into it. Let me figure it out. If I haven't heard, let me do my research. Don't be so quick to think this is a legit opportunity, because it's not. And that's, you know what I mean? One of the things I really appreciated about him is just, man, he had the same heart, the same vision, and he cared about these guys, not even knowing, like, you know, I've been with these guys for a minute, you know what I mean? And so I was like, you know what, hey, coach, you know what I mean? Let's talk. I need an assistant. Let's do da. And he was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? And from there, we went from, like I said, meeting in the pro-am, so all of a sudden, we're going down, I think it was Clark College, where we played, you know what I mean? And because that's that thing too, right? And this thing is a lot of the schools, especially JUCOs and things like that, they play minor league teams and things like that, right? So folks was thinking, oh, y'all just a minor league team. I'm like, we're different. We're really built different. I have an NBA lineup. You know what I mean? I have.
You know, it's because I have to share the story about it. So initially, like when we went down to Clark College down in Oregon. So at first, because you know, we kind of really hadn't really established like kind of like how I fit in at first, because I was kind of like the guy who just like scouted players, right? And so I was kind of like I was sitting behind him on the bench, you know, in the stand. So I was sitting behind him, and then, you know, like I said, oh yeah, and we're doing a 1-2-1-1, doing a 3/4 court 1-2-1-1 press on the team. And so they had a guy who's playing on the wing, and I was like, say, hey, you need to take that dude out. I said, he don't even know what to do, man. I said, he's supposed to drop to the middle. I said, he's all lost. I said, then when the ball comes over, he's supposed to trap, shoot. All right, okay. And then we started doing some other things. He's like, hey man, why don't you come sit down here? So then after that, man, I was the assistant coach, man. You know.
He saw it. I knew it. You know what I mean? I was like, boom. He, like I said, he understood talent. You know what I mean? The game. And so me and him, we worked real well together. And the guys respect him, and they got the love. And that was the thing too. You know, as a player, that's major. You know what I mean? And so they respected him and had the same kind of love. And they knew that he, you know, just like myself, had a love for them. You know what I mean? So that's like, yeah, coach, you know what I mean? Like I said, we made Clark College mad. They was ready to fight, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, mad. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, Ball Hawk, they was mad because they thought, okay, hey, we're gonna play this little semi-pro team. We're gonna come down here, run them out real quick, and then be like, hey man, thanks for coming down here. Shoot,
right.
Man, we had one big dude. He was like 6'10".
Mike Middlebrooks.
Yeah. 6'10". I didn't even know who he was. He said, yeah, he could jump out the gym. He just got crazy game. So I was like, oh, okay, let me see what. Man, this dude was like, you couldn't even bring nothing in the lane. Like it was like, yeah, you, man, and he could run the floor. So he's blocking shots, break, throwing them alley, and you know, and I said, man, where'd you get all these dudes from, man? Like, I mean, because how when you get a semi-pro team, like, you know, they'd be like, yeah, back in the day, you know, he was all right, but these are all guys that like you might have heard of them coming out of high school, but then you kind of, you know, then would be like a who's who, like
right.
Where they at now? What are they doing? And say, oh, I didn't even know, you know, and he had a bomb squad, I'm telling you, and we didn't even have all the players, like we didn't even have all the players, and he was like, say, hey, look, I got this big three, and here's boom, 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 and then I start seeing like he had players that's coming to footwork. We had some 3-point shooters like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not
over half, and they're pulling like I'm talking cash money too, not just like, oh yeah, they're pulling up. I'm talking about money, and we had 2 of them, So they will pull up, bam. I was like, man, where'd you get these dudes from, man? He said, where'd they play? He said, oh yeah, they play like it. Where
Evergreen. They came.
Green College. I was like, what?
So
Evergreen. You
remember, Mike Ward was one of them, and then Witt. You seen Witt? We did an interview with Witt, the American sniper. So,
okay.
And no, they were they step across half court, letting it fly. I had wings, Jeff, Money, 6'7", 6'6", jumping out of the gym, middle 6'10". Middlebrook. I said I had an NBA squad. What? We're not losing. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You know what I mean? And that was when we got started. We went to Clark, and then we went through the Pro-Am. You know what I mean? And he'll tell you, he was right there. We ran through the Pro-Am to the point that we added players in the playoffs to beat us. You know what I mean? It was really like that. You know what I mean?
Wait. They had to add players just for y'all, just to play against y'all?
Hey, I'm telling you, they brought in so we had beaten Jamal Crawford's team.
Shit.
Hey, the playoffs start. They brought in, because you watched the Big Three, right?
Yeah.
You know Chris Johnson, right? The light skinned dude, like 6'10".
Yeah, they brought him in. They tried to.
And he was playing. And at that time, he was playing on the Lakers practice squad, right? So they brought him in like he was the ringer, right? Man, he came in, was like, hey man, where's he been the whole season? Yeah. We was like, okay, it's like that. All right. So
we'll do that. They will do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in saying that, so check it out. So then we go to the Zeke tournament. So Isaiah Thomas, he has his Zeke tournament, right? So he's got all his boys. So here's his guards. He's got John Wall, and he's got Terry Rozier, and he had Kelly Olynyk, but Kelly Olynyk wasn't playing, and he didn't play. So and then he also didn't Chris play with them in that one? Yeah. So he had Chris, and he had Chris Johnson. So that was his team. And so Coach couldn't make that one because he had I think he was stuck in traffic or something. So that was like my kind of like my signature moment, right? So I coached him to a win. So we actually won that game, and I'm telling you, so John Wall, we had one of our big dudes, Lonnie, and Lonnie was D'ing him up, and like Wall crossed him up a couple times, and everybody was like, ooh. Then he pulled up on a jumper. He blocked it. He pulled up the jumper. Lonnie blocked it, and then started the break. And then after that, man, it was over. It was over, man. It was over, man. Them dudes. In fact, we had another guard who actually played with Klay Thompson at Wazoo.
Dre Winston. Yep.
Hey, man, we live, so I can't. So I'm not, but I'm telling you, hey, he was like, and you know how fast John Wall is.
Yeah.
Oh
man, made him look slow, man. I'm telling you.
Like
and
that?
I hyped up. Oh yeah. We beat them easy.
And that's what I'm trying to tell you. If those who know us out here, we have beat NBA from the IT tournament to the Jamal Crawford Pro-Am.
That's crazy.
And these are the same guys that was overlooked. That's Jeff that you just did it. He was a part of it. I got Lonnie, Wani, that was my big three. Dre Winston, we ended up pulling him on. Witt, we had some more young fellas that came through, but it's just one of those. You talk about the Admirals. We really are like that, you know what I mean? And we had to prove ourselves at every level. So it's not one of those things that, as we're doing what we're doing, Streetball Pro, and we're going over the world, where I'm like, oh, no, we really, there's a certain standard. And these guys have won and at every level, and we scouted and we coached them. So it's a real system that we have, you know what I mean? And so once you bring them on. So I didn't even tell you all of this. This is a coach, brought my assistant coach and said, hey, let you tell the story.
Man, I'm hearing it.
Hey, here was so here's something for you for the Seattle Pro-Am. So the second year that we played in the Seattle Pro-Am, they did this I ain't gonna talk bad about it, but I'm gonna tell you that the way they set up the teams, it wasn't to our advantage. I'll put it that way, right? It wasn't to our advantage. The way that it was supposed to be was you're supposed to get one high school player. You're supposed to get I think you're supposed to get two pro players, and then you're supposed to get a few college players, and then your own team, right? And then so basically you're supposed to get 4 or 5 players, and then your own team.
Right.
So we had a bunch of dudes like we had 2 or 3 guys from UW, University of Washington. We had a couple guys that played at Western Washington,
Right.
and then you had a high school player. So it was really frustrating because it was because we couldn't really get any chemistry. Some of our guys didn't even want to play. So the playoff time came. Some of the guys quit. So here we go to the playoffs, and so we're like, okay, hey man, let's make a run.
Yep.
We make a run, and you can ask Coach Ashley. We showed up, and you know who beat us? Spencer Hawes, Martell Webster, Kevin Porter Jr. was their high school player. Who else? They had
Martell Webster.
Listen, he said Kevin Porter Jr.
Yes. Miles. Yep, Miles Plumley.
Yep.
And then they had another dude that played over in Europe, who was one of the top players in D1 over in Germany.
Yes.
So that's who beat us.
Why do they try to? That's damn near a USA team.
Bro.
Yeah. Hey,
a FIBA team.
Them dudes played and we didn't see none of those guys during the season. None of them. I think we might have seen Spencer Hawes, but he show up every once in a while.
And Martell, that's our guy. He showed us mad love, pictures and all of that, and still this day. And that's why I got a picture with these guys where I'm like, look, these are the guys that beat us. These are NBA guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We should lose if we don't.
That's crazy. They made sure they was ready for y'all. They knew they was gonna see y'all.
They came and saw us too. I said, you know what I mean? Then for Kevin Porter to go off to the league, and he was already he was in high school. He was on his way. So you look at it, you're like, yo, this is an all-star team. You know what I mean? But this is crazy. We played against this kind of talent on a regular basis that was coming at us. So by the time you think about it, if you play against another semi-pro, or when we went overseas, we're like, yo, we've been playing against NBA guys all summer. This is what we really do. So when we go to the CBA and we play Spain and we play Russia, we're like, no, this is for real.
Yeah.
That one team, when we went overseas, and this is the trip part, right? They're getting paid.
Yeah.
We beating teams overseas, and we're like, we free agents. We ain't even pro. They like, whoa, wait.
Yeah. They couldn't believe that we weren't a pro team.
Huh?
They couldn't believe. They're like, what? You guys on it? He said, no, these are a bunch of free agents. We're trying to get them jobs. He said, we're trying to get them to be like you guys. We're trying to get them paid so they could have their career is actually playing ball. In fact, I have to share a little bit about the China trip. The China trip was it's one of those things. You know how when someone is paying for everything, so they're paying for your flight, your hotel, they're paying for your food, and you're like, pretty excited. So you think, okay, hey man, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you probably have a little bit of history about that too. So you have some experience with that, right? So things ain't always what they seem. So I'm gonna tell you how our trip started out. So we started out from Seattle, went to San Fran. So what was it, 16-hour flight? Is that right? Yeah, 16-hour flight. So then when we land, we get on a 2-hour bus ride, and then after the 2-hour bus ride, then we get on a 2-hour train ride.
Yep.
Then after the 2-hour train ride, we have another 2-hour bus ride to get to our hotel.
Damn, you had to go to another city then.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So that's how. So then we get there, and we're like, okay, and nobody's really talking to us. Then all of a sudden, it was like we run into a guy that we know. He said, "Oh yeah, hey, you guys are gonna play a game. You're gonna play this other Russian team, this Division II team." And so we're like, okay. And then we're like, so when we're gonna practice? And so we go practice in this gym, and it's it's like an old school gym. It's like, low ceiling. It's like, it's not even, it's like a real like gym, like from the 70s, man, like almost like
Oh,
a fit,
man.
right? So we go up there, slippery floor, like we make the most of it. And we
Yeah.
end up 4-game series with this Division II team. So we met the coach, his name was Mike. And so we meet him and we're like, okay, hey, and he had been there, he had done the circuit before, but we hadn't, right? And so we played the first game, and you know what? I'm telling you, how many people you figure was there? Probably 20,000?
Yeah.
20,000.
Good.
So we go in and we play the game. I was like, and he was like, Coach, I'm telling you, you're going to see they are crazy about basketball in China. So we show up and we lose the first game. And we're like, we're all kind of gelling and stuff. And we're like, okay, hey, you know what? Okay, we lost our first one. So then we come back and we play again, and then we beat them. Right. So we're like, okay, hey, we're even now. And this was the game changer. So the third game, we get there and, like we're excited, and we're actually in this big arena. It's bigger than the other arena that we was playing in. Nice gym. And then we're like, yeah, hey man, it's a good game, man. We're gonna look forward to it. He said, oh yeah, we're gonna win. He's like, what? Oh yeah, we're gonna. It's like, yeah, well, we'll see. It's like, oh no, we're gonna win. So we didn't know what he was talking about. He's like, man, we got there, and I'm telling you, ball hockey, I'm telling you, man, they made sure we didn't win. Like refs, oh yeah. I mean, and it was obvious too. So it wasn't like they was like trying to win. Like they were like, oh no, you guys aren't winning this game. And that's when we found out they were betting on the games.
Yep.
Whoa.
Yeah. Hey, that's not even the kicker. That's not even the kicker. So that's when we kind of figured out like what was happening. So then we go to our coaches meeting. And we get in there and they're like, okay, so they got drinks all around, and they're like, and I was like, I'm not really a drinker, right? So they're like, oh yeah. He said, I said, no, I don't drink. He said, oh no, you have to drink. He said, because if you don't drink, we don't trust you.
Yep.
Damn.
So it's like, yeah, it's like mafioso.
Yeah.
Yes. And the first thing out of the guy's mouth that ran the whole thing was, it's not about winning. So, man, we're from the States. Like, what are you talking about, dude? It's all about winning. It's all about, it's not all about winning. So, we're looking at each other like, man, I don't know what he's talking about. And so we end up playing that 4-game series with them. And then the coach was like, if I go 2-2, and I go back to Russia, I'm a success. So end up going 2-2. So he got his thing.
Well, and so on that part, going to that, he actually came to me. Coach Mike was like, "Hey, we go 2-2, it's gonna look good for me." You know what I mean? And so it was like, yo, in a sense, let me win type thing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, for us, I'm like, well, I own the business. I'm just trying to get them jobs. I'm not really tripping. If I go 0-4, 2-2, it's not like I got to go back and report to somebody.
Right.
But for him, it's career. You know what I mean? And that was a turning point where he was like, man, it's not that in a sense because we didn't throw the game. You know what I mean? It was a thing that, oh, we cool. We're going 2-2. If that's what you need. You know what I mean? And 2-2, and he was like, still to this day, we got love. You know what I mean? He's like, man, I appreciate y'all. You're a man. In the sense of your word and this and that. I'm just like, well, you got some help because y'all betting and on the backside, you know what I mean? They paying for everything, but at the end of the day, it was all about when we talk about how we learn the business. Folks don't understand the business and how this game works. You know what I mean? For us, we learned it like, whoa, yo, this is what happened on the back end and this and that. And for us, we just want to get these guys opportunities. You know what I mean? So I think that's one of the things that as we, that's China. That's one country. But out of China, we got Lithuania, we got Spain, we got all these other countries where I'm like, let me build relationships. I don't, in a sense, caring about winning. I want to get my guys jobs, and I want to build as many relationships that we can go to as many countries as we can so they can get seen. You know what I mean? So it was a thing that me and, like I said, Coach Mike Whedon from China,
Yep.
From Seattle to Atlanta. He knows B-Hop, you know what I mean? What you met, he was a part of that, you know what I mean? When you go around, we have had success and won from the minor league,
Yep.
the pros against NBA guys, to because Mike James, Mike James, if y'all don't know, we didn't know Mike James at the time. You know what I mean? Everybody, he came in, everybody's like, oh man, Mike James. And we like, who's Mike James? You know what I mean? Oh, that's Mike James. I mean, we beat him the first time, and that's sort of a whole nother story because it was a double elimination game.
Yeah.
And we lost one time. They gave it to Mike James. You know what I mean? Because we beat him the first time, and we was like, whoa. And he beat us the second time, like 1 or 2 or something like that. He's like, well, we gotta lose twice, right? It's double elimination. They're like, nope. And so we're like, you know what? It is what it is because we done knocked off some of the best players, and you know what I mean, in this game. But with Coach Mike, we didn't won CBA, Spain, Russia. We didn't won at every level. So we talk about Streetball to Pro, and the fact that, like I tell people, we scout, we develop, and we place. So we go and scout, find the best talent, and that's what the Admirals is. We go around and we develop because we play and we help teach them the game how to be a professional. You know what I mean? On and off the court. And then with our relationships, we put them in front of people that can actually do jobs. You know what I mean? So once again, you know, for those who don't know about us, because we've been around for 12 years, you know what I mean? That's another thing. We've been around for 12 years, and this is new to some people, but for us, we've been like, we're really like that. It's not trying to be arrogant or nothing like that. It's just your record and your credential speaks for itself. You know what I mean? So with what we got going on now, going to New York and, you know, Wisconsin, all these places to go scout talent, is like, this is really what we do. You know what I mean? And we have a history of it, you know? So that's the thing, like I said, with Coach Mike, that's my guy, my players, or our players, put it that way. You know what I mean? He got love, just as much love they got for me to have for him, because he gave both of us financially, you know what I mean? We put money into it, our time in it. He was just like Austin. He's coming from Canada. He drove from Canada down to Seattle, down to Bremerton, wherever I needed him. Time and time again, just to make sure that these guys, you know what I mean, was on point or wherever we needed to go. You know what I mean? That's a different kind of commitment.
Yeah, them the type of coaches you need too, though. That will really do all that with drive back and forth just to help make for a bigger cause than what that actually is. Besides playing basketball, getting guys in good situations. That's the kind of coach I would want to be under.
Yeah, and you know, and you know, a lot of guys didn't even know that I was driving from Canada. Like at first, like we're actually playing in one of our tournaments, and they were, and you know, they weren't playing very well, and it was like, and you know, coach was like kind of like on them, you know, because it was like lack of effort, right? It was like, man, you know, it's like, and then you know, I just piped up, hey man, look, I drive from Canada. It's like a 3-hour drive, man. What? I was like, yeah, I'm driving 3 hours to come down here for you guys because I believe in what Coach Ashley is doing, and I believe in you guys, and that's why I show up. And they were like, and then that was like for them, it was like, yeah, and said, oh yeah, and by the way, and I would be the first one there.
Yes, you were talking
right. So
and
they're in town, and I'm beating them there.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's
crazy.
Right. Yeah, because we even had some players like they was oh, you know, I want to catch a ride with you. I say, hey, look, like I'm not one of the players, dude. Like I can't show up late. Like that, you know, like you know, because I'm, you know, look, I'm you know, I'm one of the leaders on the team. You know, the coach showing up late. Like the players, you know, they got a little bit of leeway there, whereas the coach is like, you know, how's that look? Oh, hey, coach is late again. Like, come on, man. Like, you know, it's like, how can you lead by example? How can I have you to do something that I'm not willing to do my own self? Right. So that was, you know, that was something. And that goes back to like, you know, but that's also like, yeah, some of it's the Army, but it's also about like who we are, because one of the things that, you know, I want those guys to understand too, is that they're like, oh, hey, where's Coach Ashley? I said, hey man, you know what? He's got a lot of commitments. I said, he's not late because he wants to be late. He's late because he's doing you. he's doing something for you, and that's not including his family.
Yeah.
You know, us too. Our wives are like, man, right? So yeah, it's like, man, hey, the first couple times it's cool, and then it's like, okay, hey, what's going on here, right? Because they counting our money, right? Right, right. Like they counting our money and time, and they're like, okay, he said, well, they better be doing something because you're away a lot, so yeah.
And so even with Coach Mike, he was a part of when I started to go outside of Washington to explore new talent. So that's what I'm saying. Everything that everybody is seeing, he was right there with me. You know what I mean? We went to Louisiana.
Yep.
And that's where we started to go outside to open it up and say, hey, you know what? We already did very well, and we got our group or crew here in Washington, and we're going all over the world. Let's open it up to the South and to some more people, because we had already invited me up on a trip, but then we was like, let's now fly to another state, have a showcase, a tryout, pick players, and give them an opportunity. He was with me. So, you know what I mean? So when folks start to see or hear what's happening, it's not like this just started happening. You know what I mean? It's not like, all of a sudden me and you got together and we just started. No, me and him have been doing this for a number of years. You know what I mean? And that's where we, in a sense, want to say perfected the whole idea. So I can go to a state or to a country where a bunch of random people, you know what I mean, and we perform. So what you saw in UK, that's normal for us. You know what I mean? Yeah, we got used to doing that. Boom, went down to Louisiana, found some players, took them to UK, and took second place the first time. You know what I mean? We did that. Took them Lithuania, just different countries, just saying, hey, here's opportunities. And we've been successful, in doing it. So the method, which is just like overseas. Think about it. If you get a call, you got to be able to show up overseas and you got to perform. You know what I mean?
That part.
If not, you're going home. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, you're going to go home that next day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That was one of the things too, like that Coach Ashley was talking about too. It was like one of the things is, there's always levels, right? So like where we are today isn't where we were like 5 years ago. So there's levels, and it's like, one of the things that we talked about too is it said, if your goal is to go pro, and we're creating an opportunity for you, you have to be committed to achieving your goal and not worrying about who's going to go with you, because so often folks worry about who's going to go with them. It's like, hey man, this ain't about them, this is about you. What are you committed to? And like one of the things that, and we had talked about this like through the journey, because we'd be up talking on the phone and be FaceTiming and stuff, and I was like, we were just talking, it's like, okay, so because Coach Ashley was spending a lot of his own money, and then I was spending money too, and then I was like, hey, look, it said one thing that's not going to work for us to be able to move forward is we can't want this more than they want it for themselves, because it's not going to work. Because that means that they lack commitment, and and they just want somebody to give it to them. So then that was when I was so inspired when Coach Ashley said, okay, hey, you know what, the first time that he didn't pay, them guys couldn't believe it. They was like, what? He was like, oh no, if you won't invest in yourself, then I'm no longer invested. And then that was the game changer.
Yep.
And that's why we are where we are today, because of that. Because if you're not willing to invest in yourself, if you're not willing to go pay your airfare and your hotel and say, okay, hey, look, man, it's going to cost you $1,500 for your opportunity. If might that for you, you ain't invested, man.
Man.
Right. And,
right.
Like let's talk on that one. That's a good one. Let's you know what I mean? Because of the fact that everybody, this is what I don't get. You know what I mean? You don't have a resume.
Yep.
You're trying to get a job.
Yep.
And you're expecting us to pay for you to go to a whole nother country for a whole nother opportunity. You know what I mean? Or even if it's another state.
Yep.
You want us to pay, where I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Why am I paying for you? I have a job.
Yeah.
You know?
For real.
fly into another state and I can just make phone calls and put a team together and
Yep.
opportunity. And that's why, you know what I mean, we do what we do. And so that's another thing where I'm like, you know how many people are getting over on folks? You're legit, and you want me to pay for your stuff.
Yeah.
And if you contract, are you giving me a kickback? No. I've seen that, you know what I mean? And it's things where it's not that we're asking. That's the trip part. It's a lot of folks who came through, they went off and got jobs.
Yep.
You know? And it's not, hey, coach, hey, here's this and that. They don't say that.
Right, right.
Look back. They're like saying, "Oh yeah, I deserve that anyway." It's like it ain't about you deserving it. It's like you keep it's like it's kind of like at work. Like right now, like I tell people, say, you know what, my job right now is to create opportunities. It's up to you to realize the benefit of this opportunity, not me, because it's about your future, not ours. So because we've already been there and done that. Whatever experience and all the things that we've done, we've already done that already. Yeah. So now, based off of our experience, we're looking to create that opportunity because a lot of times it wasn't there, so you got to be hungry, man. If you ain't hungry, I got a little motto that I use up here about being hungry. I said, it's hard to be hungry if you got a lot to eat. So, right. So if you got a lot to eat, you ain't going to be so inspired to want to do those things. Oh, if you'll pay for this, I'll do it. But if not, I'm good. Right. So it's like, okay.
Man, we talked about all this. Everything you're saying is ad-libs to everything we talked about the last podcast we did and the one before that, where you have maybe a guy coming from a high D1 school who's kind of entitled because he's coming from a school, as an opposed to a player coming from an Ivy League school or Division III school, mid-major school, coming up and seeing that dude, knowing he's coming from a high, and I'm coming from a low mid-major school. I know what I need to do. I'm gonna work, and it's naturally gonna show. I think sometimes that it's naturally gonna show that Ivy League school player is gonna bust his ass more than the little bit entitled because he's coming from Clemson or Syracuse or Duke or you know what I mean. Yep. And that's the entitlement. That's the entitlement I'm talking about. That player might even be that good, but he's coming from that school. 6'10", 205, but he's coming from Duke. Oh yeah, we look on him. Yep. Then I got a player who's crazy athletic, got his mindset, skill set, but he's coming from Southern, I don't know, Baptist or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're not really gonna look at that, but what they don't know is that the hunger that he had, that player's coming from that. They don't know the hunger that he got. And those, I told Coach, those are the players that I like watching, I like looking at. Of course, added to the players coming from the high level schools already, but then it's with them. I'm looking for something else when it comes for those players. They're already almost complete. When they're at those schools, they're almost complete as a player. So I need to look at these players that maybe need a little bit more help. Maybe they do have it. Maybe if they have it, what else is going on? If they don't have it, what else can we do to help them? Like you said, what else can we do to help them to get where they need to be? And that's why I think when it comes in, and also with spending the money, Coach Paul has said this too, that, when you travel, you go into a combine, man, you're going to have to spend some money. If you're trying to get somewhere, you got to have that. You got to have that hunger, because if not, you think it's going to be easy, and it's not. You're going to spend for the flight is almost $800. And then you got to get the hotel room for the 3 nights, 4 nights, 3 days. That's another, maybe $500, $400. And then gas, you got to get a rental car, and you know what I'm saying? And food. And then if you want to go out and spending money. So all of that adds up. And then you have players who are like, I'm cold. But then, you know what I mean? And then you have players that buy Jordans. And I say that all the time. Like, we know it's a curve. I buy Jordan too, but it's the right time for everything. Yeah. Especially if you're trying to get somewhere, then that's when it's the right time. Like, yo, this is going towards this. Because I'm not gonna lie, I've been to many different combines, man, and I just been like, yo, like I'm staying with it. Like, I understand it's a lot of money, but this is for a cause. I'm not gonna go out here and play grab ass. I'm gonna go out here and bust my ass. I'm gonna put the ball in the basket. That's what it's gonna be.
Yeah, because and you know what, and just hearing you say that, you said, because the only thing that you can control is the effort that you put out and how you show up. You can't control like who makes the decisions and all that stuff. You can't control that, but what you can do is control your effort, how you show up, having a winning attitude, being a team player. You can control all those things because those are that coaches be like, okay, hey, he might not be the most talented guy, but you know what? He's willing to accept the role if you give him one and say, okay, I'm willing to work hard, and hey, coach, I'll do anything. And I'll give you a good example. I remember I was watching one of Gilbert Arenas' podcasts, and he was talking about who's that little guard, man, and he's like just a little pest. He played for the Clippers. He played for out of Chicago.
Not Pat Bev. You talking about Pat Bev?
Pat Beverly. And he said, all these guys are talking about, what they do. He said, hey, man, did you know that Pat Beverly in high school, you know what he averaged? He was like, what? He was averaging 37 a game. He was like, what? Like, he was averaging 37 a game. And you know what he did? He knew that he couldn't be a scorer. So you know what? He had to find his niche. You know what his niche was? Defense. And that's hard determination and the want to, right? So that's the cool thing about someone setting goals. See, you can't measure. See, I can't measure how bad you want to be a professional. See, I can't measure because only you can do that. Only you know how bad that you want it, and you know how hard you're willing to work to get it. And he just used that as example. He said, so all of you guys that think you're gonna come in here and be scorers, well, you know what, you're not. There's a bunch of different roles besides being a scorer. And so I thought that was like a great podcast that is really a reality check for a lot of people that have no idea that there are roles to be played, and what are you willing to do and what are you willing to accept in order to make it.
Yep. And guys, right. And if guys like really locked in on that,
if
they really, really lock in on what else I can do besides score.
Yes.
If I just focus on this so much, everything else is going to come naturally.
Yep.
And I say this again, Coach Paul, you heard me say this about 10 times. If we trying to score the ball, right, we trying to average a certain amount of points, which I know guys do mentally in their head.
Yeah. If
we trying to, guys are getting looked at, you need 16 points a game. That's a good look for anybody to look at you. 16 points a game, and that's 4 points a quarter in 12 minutes a quarter. For 4 12-minute quarters, you get 4 points a quarter at 16 points. And for the average player who wants to be a pro, who is a pro already, if you can't do that in any, professional setting, then that's when you really need to, understand what's going on. Like, if I can't even score and I want to score, you know what I mean? And I can't score, like something's going on. But if you can, like, think about it. A layup in a bucket, you can do that in 12 minutes. That's a long ass quarter, right? So 2 buckets, work on something else, talking, rebounding, setting screens,
right?
You know what I mean? A whole bunch of different stuff, man, you can do. And then after a while, when you start to get it, the game becomes fun. Because now it's the muscle memory, it's the motor skill, all that's kicking in naturally already. Now you know what to do. All of a sudden, the ball's coming to you more. Now you got a feel for it. Now you're not even thinking about scoring. All the stuff is just happening.
Yeah.
And that's where you're playing basketball. That's basketball. You know what I mean? Because some guys are just got tunnel vision and just work on it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna just work on this, and then that's it. And it shows. It's always seeking in certain guys' game when they're like that.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to remember that. That's a good one, man. 4 points a quarter, and it's not a lot. Because one of the things that in saying that is that there's so many guys that won't take the mid range. You can average 20 points a game if you can score between 12 and 15 feet. If you can perfect points a game, because you know what, they're gonna give it to you.
Yeah.
And hey, I didn't mean to cut you off, Coach, but that's crazy you said that, because that is my go-to shot. That's my go-to. It's my mid-range is the strongest part of my game.
Yep. Mid-range. I try to. That's me. I try to teach all my players, my kids, that mid-range. Everybody want to either shoot a 3.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Everybody can't shoot that. And everybody can't dunk. So mid-range, a shooter, if you can come in and knock down that mid-range, you're gonna have a job. I'm sorry.
That mid-range is so fun. That's fun. Man.
And they'll give it to you. They won't even challenge you.
Yeah, no.
They'll give it to you.
Yeah.
That mid range.
Man.
They'll look and say, "Oh, I hope you miss," and you like cash,
Right.
right?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, man.
Mid-range specialist, you know what I mean? But now, I mean, like I said, this right here, and we don't the movement. I call it the movement, Coach. I call it the movement. Streetball to Pro. What up, Ballaholic and I? What we got going on is basically what you and I have been doing for so long. We're just putting it now. I guess you could say on the platform for people to see. You know what I mean? We're recording it, making it the show, but at the same time, now we're opening it up to the world. You know what I mean? Like we started the process within the US, seeing how it worked, you know what I mean? Then we just took it over. I mean, we actually took it overseas already. We've been taking players to China, grabbing them and taking them overseas, and been watching coaches and players have gotten jobs throughout this process. You know what I mean? And this is what it's about. It's not just for the players, and that's another reason why I wanted you to come on. It's also for coaches. You know what I mean? It's a great tool to learn the game, to actually get a job as well. You know what I mean? It's been a lot of players or coaches that has come through the program, or now they're coaches either in high school, middle school, at the pro level. We actually sent somebody over to China as a coach. You know what I mean? So folks don't know the history, you know, of what the program is. So that's why I would say it's so much bigger than basketball. It's so much bigger than just playing as well. There's so many other jobs that we have in the business. You know what I mean? So we're trying to teach folks the business of the game and give them opportunities. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that I try to talk to. I just say young fellas, because you know I'm a little older. And so we say the young fellas, look, there's so many people. Put it this way: there's over 1,300 minor league teams in the U.S. How many players are looking to get a job? You know what I mean? So if you're not willing to invest in yourself, if you're not willing, and for us, and this is what I be tripping on, me and Ballaholic, we said this is $50. Are we saying it's $50? Because I want to see that. You know what I mean? Oh, I can't even pay the 50. Then this is not really for you, because honestly, what's going to happen is if you went to go try to get a G League or D League or any of those, a TBL, you're paying 100 plus 200, 300. That's just the tryout.
That's just a tryout. That's just a tryout.
You know what I mean? And so here we are saying, hey, I just want to see where your mind is at. You know what I mean? I'm throwing $50 because, like I said, it's easy, you know, to call and put a team together. You know what I mean? We still have all the players. We have connections all over the world that if I wanted to and just say, you know what, Baller, let me get you 9 players and put them around you real quick. Too easy. And we gonna win. We gonna win because I know enough pro players that we gonna put a nice squad together. But to say, all right, we're gonna give some people some opportunities. You know what I mean? And so for me, this is the trip part. I mean, folks submit their resumes, or I tell them, hey, submit this. Go to the website, send your highlight, send your full film, send, you know, do you have a passport, your bio. Man, the stuff I get through this email, you know, I'll be like, yo, I don't got no passport. I played in high school. I don't have no highlights.
See, and that's why we here. See, and this is why, and that's the part we're talking about, Coach. That's why we here to help these dudes. It be the ones that just so gifted, but don't have it. Like, that's why we always say the mindset got to be stronger than the skill set. And the mindset part comes with that, knowing if you passport ready, you can get called in the next 5 to 10 hours.
That's it.
You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. Do you have film? All of that stuff matters. You know what I mean? Yeah, that you got to be. Mine's got to be ready, because they're just thinking basketball, when, like, yo, there's stuff that comes with that. Even for the people who represent them, like if you guys, like we agents, you got to think about this guy that's putting all his money into you, man. Like, you got to think about him like, yo, he put all his money into me, he got his room, paid for my ticket, He got me way out here. I don't know what he told the coach, but I'm pretty sure it's something good because I'm playing on this team. I got to try for this team. Let me go hard. Let me go in. Let me lock in. A lot of guys won't even think that way. Some guys are like, you know what? If I don't play bad, if I play bad, whatever, man. Or even if they get there and they start good and halfway through something happens, and we go, you know what? I don't give a F about what's going on right now, man. And I ain't pay for this. I'm gonna go home and blah blah blah. Then the ones, man, that's why we gotta. We always say we got to make sure because we got a brand to protect. So we got to make sure these are the ones that we know. That's why it's important to have a current resume. It's important to have some kind of highlight. It's important because if not, that's the wonder too. We Coach Paul mentioned this too. That gap. Like if this, we 2023, we trying to sign you and you ain't did nothing since 2018. What happened? Or even since 2020. In 3 years, what was you doing in the past 3 years? You know what I mean?
It's even like this in the business. 2022. Wait,
right.
You missed a year. What happened? Yeah. Where are you?
What are you doing? No, you guys are bang on too. And another thing too, it's like there has to be a standard. The standard is standard, and it doesn't move based on you. It moves based on the levels. Right. So the standard, there's a basic standard. You have to have a resume. You got to have film. You got to have a passport. You got to have all the. Because I remember me and Coach Ashley talking about that. They say, hey, if you don't have these things, there's no conversation to have.
It's not.
There's no conversation to have. He said, you need this at a minimum. If you don't have those things, I can't get you a job anyway. So we can't even put you out there because our name and reputation's online. And it's like, okay, hey, if you're willing to send me this guy who doesn't meet the standard, what does that say about you?
Right.
What does that say? Are you able to set boundaries and say here's the standard, and if they don't meet it, they can't, it's no different than getting, if you're getting recruited to go play D1 somewhere. It said, if you can't get into school, well, nobody cares because they know you can't get in anyway. They're like,
right.
But you can't even, bro, we can't even get you in if we wanted to. So the standard is the standard, just period. And and it's like you're just saying, Ball, you're talking about, you got a name and reputation to uphold too, because when you send a player somewhere and if they don't produce, that's a knock on you. They're like, yes, been sending me this dude. Like, for real, I thought you said he was. I said, but the good thing, the one thing is that you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So first, right? So the first time that you send a player there, that dude is representing you, whether you want them to or not. They are representing you. So when they go there and they say, oh, you sent so and so, right? Oh, hey man, he was nice effort and stuff. He said, he was a good player, but unfortunately with the numbers, he just didn't make it. But I like, hey, send me some more of those guys.
Yes.
Right.
That's different. You know what I mean? And that's what, folks don't understand too. It's like anything. It's a reference, right? Yep. So if you call a coach, and that's what we're doing, GMs, coaches, that we're talking to each other and you say, hey, tell me about this player.
Yep.
Yes.
And
and that's really how it is. I mean, and there's folks that because of relationships and the credibility of the program and what we've already produced, that, they may not meet the typical standard.
Right.
But because of you, I'm going to get them an opportunity.
There you go.
What I mean? And so that's what players got to also understand. That's why I'm like, man, no love lost. I'm not mad at y'all. Y'all don't have to talk to me. I'm just doing my job.
Yep.
I'm going to put you in the best position because the thing is, oh, yeah, what's up, man? And that's the other thing, too. This is a job. You know what I mean? Think of it like this. Even if I, because I get emails, hey, yo, what's up? I'm like, or messages, DM, hey, fam, hey, bro. I'm like, I mean, I don't feel that I'm above you. I'm not trying to act that way, but as a professional,
right.
Yeah, I can't, what I mean? I look at it just like somebody else, what I mean? You're trying to get a job and you want me to represent you or you want me to give you a job, but the way you're coming at me, you're coming at me wrong, and you're gonna do that to the wrong person.
Right. You got to know what you, yeah, see, and them be the like, I call them like the, what do you call those guys, man? I don't want to stay alive, but them the ones that just want to test it. Them the guys that wanted the bragging rights, coach. The ones that have paid, the ones that have paid $350 just to say they've been, you know what I'm saying, that they've been at a professional camp, a tryout.
Yeah.
So that emails for them, for you to reply back to them so they can go, yeah, no, I reached out to this professional dude, you know, the Kitsap Admirals. Yeah, I emailed him. He emailed me back, said, you know what I mean? So, you know, I'm just trying to look out. I'm just trying to, you know what I'm saying? It's one of them. Trust me. I can almost assure you, coach, it's one of them dudes, man. Oh my gosh. I deal with them all the time.
And these are, like I said, anybody who's watching, all we doing is giving y'all game. You know what I mean? If you want to make it at this level that you're pursuing, these are the tips, right? These are people who've already been where you're at. You know what I mean? So for me to sit there, you know, and Ballaholic, you seen like Mike B was on. That's my old teammate. You know what I mean? You think of, you know, I played with Donald Watt. I played with some of the biggest names that are just crazy. You know what I mean? When you look at their resume and their pros, you know what I mean? So it's one of those where I'm like, yeah, I was a low JUCO NAIA, but I had the game. That's different. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You yourself. Not only that, but as a professional, I learned my role. You know what I mean? Hey, okay, well, I need to play defense. I need to box out. I need to, hey, it is what it is. I'm going to do what I need to do to keep my job, to get a job, first of all, and then keep it. And then now here it is, you know, I own a business that is a professional business. You know what I mean? So it's one of those Streetball to Pro. Here's a person that, as you say, got it out the mud. I didn't have the D1. I didn't have that. You know what I mean? All of these things.
Right.
But now here it is. I'm trying to put you on game, and you coming to say, hey, yeah, you know, talking this way. And I'm like, nah, it ain't going to work. It's not going to work that way. If you don't have these things, it's not going to work because I can't represent you. I can't send that off to the people that I'm working with because there's certain, like you say, coach, there's standards. You know what I mean? And so those are the things why we're doing what we're doing, trying to educate, you know what I mean, these young players or players who in between, who want to go here and go there and just say, look, you know what I mean, just because you can put the ball in the hoop doesn't mean guarantee you a job. That's
Right.
A lot of folks can do that. You know what I mean? But that there's different levels. You know what I mean? And so that's what the whole Streetball to Pro. That's why we do these podcasts and why we bring on so many different people. And the ball, you know, we didn't brought on players, coaches, owners,
Yep.
and everybody's saying the same thing.
They say the same thing. Yeah, man, no, for real. Because even some of the youngest guys who've been on, they act really very, very, very mature.
Yes.
Like they talk like those are the players that we need. Those are the players that are setting examples of what you're talking about in a positive way, though, coach. You know what I mean? But yeah, we're not talking about guys who are, you know, how they coming at you or what they don't have. We're talking about the guys also that talk right. They got, you know what I mean? Whether they have families or not, there's just how they talk and how they carry themselves. What else they're doing besides basketball? The understanding that they have, you know, besides basketball, giving back to the community, whether it be training or, you know what I mean? Whatever else the case may be. The players that I've talked to, even the owners and the coaches, all have had the same, you know, pretty much thing to say, the same like vision. So that's pretty cool too. And that's what you need to have, man. And all of that's part of being, you know, having a professionalism. And if I think if you just strictly basketball, you're definitely missing something. If you just strictly basketball and really understanding, you know, how to reach out and have outreach programs or just be a part of something like that, that's something that you're missing out of your game, for sure.
And that's our job too as mentors. You know what I mean? So we're mentors. We're, you know what I mean? When you at that age where you're pouring and you're trying to raise up the next generation, you know what I mean, or the next group. And that's how I look at it, especially as a coach. You know what I mean? So that's the other part where I throw it out there and say, I'm not only a coach, but I'm an owner. Sure. So if I'm talking to you as, okay, you want me to hire you. This is what I'm looking for. because you're a product, you're a player. We're business. This entertainment, however you want to say it. If I'm gonna invest, I got to make my money back.
Right.
That's the nature of the beast. If you look at every level, NBA, all these guys, these owners putting these monies out, millions and millions, they getting their money back. You know what I mean? On a major way. And so that's my thing. Then as a coach, I'm telling you, hey, here's a system. You got to understand the system. You got to understand these things. You know what I mean? So it's like we're able to offer so many, I guess, benefits, with the program that we have because of the fact that we, operate in so many different roles. And that's the thing where I say, hey, look, we have the platform. You know what I mean? We offer the team. We offer everything that you need to actually get a job. You know what I mean? And that's the difference with what the Streetball, the Pro, the Kiss App Admirals, you know what I mean? We talking about Ballaholic and Coach Rich and, Coach Mike, everybody, we're all in this together to try to help. You know what I mean? So that's my biggest, I hope, takeaway. Anybody who watch any of the podcasts, you know what I mean? And they ever meet us to say, hey, at the end, you need to eat. If you don't have a family, one day you may have a family, but you trying to take care of yourself or you're trying to take care of your family. You know what I mean?
Right.
To do those things is just like if you was working at a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? There's your standards and there's certain things that people are going to accept and they ain't going to accept. And that's just what it is. You know what I mean? And I think that's the other part too. When you look at our culture, you look at it as Black men, you know what I mean? That's a whole nother topic we can talk about, you know what I mean? But just because of the fact that we don't have the same opportunities or the same chances, we always fighting up an uphill battle to get anything, you know what I mean? So it's just harder for us to make it. And so it's the little things they nitpick. Oh, you said this, you look like this, you know what I mean? Like for me, having tattoos, I used to have locks and all that, and folks are just automatically, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? I'm like,
that part. Oh man, I hate that. That's one of the most irritating things.
it really is. And that's, the world in which we're in. And it's just one of those where I'm like, look, I'm not going to judge you based off of how you look.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm going to help you on how you carry yourself. You know what I mean? That's what it all comes down to. And although they won't give you opportunity, we're going to give you opportunity. But if we're going to give you opportunity, you got to meet these requirements and these standards so we can help you. You know what I mean? So
Exactly. Yeah, because like we said, certain players, they might not have all the qualities that they actually really need to be just a professional. Like I said, we're talking about off the court. Do they know how to speak? When they get asked questions, do they know how to speak in front of people as opposed to getting speak to a news reporter? Can they speak in front of? Can they speak to 20 kids while you got other 40 people watching? Can they? You know what I mean? Can they hold a conversation? You know what I mean? It's tough. You got players that maybe from the trenches or come from the hood. Can they get around people who don't talk like that?
Yeah.
And all right, you know what I'm saying? and hold a conversation. That's what we're talking about, putting them in comfortable positions, or even for them getting in the position where they can figure it out. And at some point, they're going to have to do that because they're not going to be with none of their homies if they're going overseas. They're going to be with maybe two other Americans, and everybody else is whatever, you know what I mean? So, and that gets tough. Even that gets tough after a while because you're going to want to do something by yourself or go see something. The first thing that's on your mind is like, yo, I don't know where to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the ones that always that I think Coach, you said this too, Coach Rich, in maybe our first podcast. You said the guys that want the limelight, when the limelight comes, they don't want to step in it. They want to step away from it. You know what I mean? And that's all around when we're talking about guys who want to get there. They get it, and then once they get in that stage, like, oh, like they kind of like tense up a little bit. So all the aggressive play they did to try to get on, now when they get on the stage, they're not doing it, and it shows. Or they from talking all this mess, and then when it comes down to it, they're not doing it. You know what I mean? So, and that's what we're talking about, man. It's like when you get in that position, all of a sudden there's no more electrolytes. If you ain't got no electrolytes, you disappear.
Right?
You know what I mean? So if whoever's watching, man, you guys make sure, we, like I said, Coach said too, we're not cocky, we're not arrogant. And
No.
anyone else will tell you this. A G League coach will tell you this. They more cocky and arrogant than we are because they closer to the NBA than we are.
Yep.
They'll say it even more disrespectful. Like, you ain't making it. They'll tell you that. So if you guys are watching, just make sure this is something that you really want to do as far as pursuing your career as a basketball player, or really understanding what it takes to become a basketball player. Become a basketball player first before you want to become a pro. Because there's a lot that come into that. A lot.
Throw this out here too is it's a process. It's a process. You know what I mean? That's the other part too, where I have players that hit me up, man, I want to go pro, coach, put me in this spot. I put him in a spot. You don't get the job. Oh, hey, coach, hey, I want to go on this trip. I can't keep putting you in these positions and you're not getting the job. There's somebody else, you know what I mean, that needs an opportunity. You know what I mean? And that's my biggest thing is saying you got to trust the process. You got to listen, because that's the other part. We say we scout and we develop. So I tell you, I'll give you your evaluation. Say, man, you might need to work on A, B, and C and get this fixed, da-da-da-da. And then let's try it again. I don't know. You know what I mean? I can't say when that's going to happen again, because there's, once again, over 1,300 teams in the U.S. How many players are trying to get a job? So if you miss your opportunity and you don't take advantage of it at that time, I don't know when the next time it's going to come back around. You know what I mean? I think that was one of the things Coach might like what we were doing. And I noticed that folks got used to that. Oh, let me call Coach. Hey, let me jump on this. Hey, Coach. And we was like, yeah, let me give you a chance. Let me give you a chance. Oh, I'm going to just call you. And I tell a lot of my guys now, I said, man, I still got love for y'all, but things have changed now. You know what I mean? There's really a process. There was a process before. It's really a harder process because we're not the same, like Coach Mike said. 5 years ago, we're different than we are now. You know what I mean? Now, folks, I'm working with Ballaholic. You know what I mean? He's a professional that folks know and was on one of the biggest platforms, and everybody talk about. I'm his agent. That I wasn't working with, you know what I mean, Coach Mike. We were still trying to get people on and put them on, and we met a lot of people and relationships and, built that. But now I'm representing D1 high level. Even then, we had D1 athletes, you know what I mean? But once it's just one of their, when I say, okay, Ballaholic there. Oh, Ballaholic. Oh, guess what? We got the pharmacy. Oh, you got pharmacy. Oh, that's a different level. You know what I mean? And there's folks they look at us different, and there's a different expectation. So I know that now, oh, let me call you. Hey, Coach, can I
Right.
Right. You know what I mean? It's just one of those. I want to help you, but you got to go through the process. And here's the process now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The process, you got to beat out these other folks in this other state, and you got to earn one of these spots. You know what I mean? To come and rock with us. You know what I mean? Because that's
you're right, Coach. And that's crazy because guys won't even take that time to do that. Like, nah, I'm cool. I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna just go pay $350 for the combine, and you know what I mean, and not get picked, as opposed to paying $50 for something I could get on and have 4 different leeways to get on, whether it be the Streetball team, the Kids at Admiral Travel team, another team looking at us, or even the pro team that they got. You know what I mean? Guys won't think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like.
And so, I mean, like I said, I believe, we got New York. I mean, it's one of those folks are becoming more of a believer because what's happening, they're seeing our history, what we've already accomplished and what we're still doing and the people that we're working with. And I think that's the thing now. Now we're on a bigger platform. And so, like I said, we talked about this too. I said, hey, y'all need to get in while you can, because once those people start coming in and they writing these checks and endorsements and this and that, the price is way up. It's a different ticket. You know what I mean? It's because there is more people behind it, so it's higher expectations. You know what I mean? And so I think that that's my thing where I'm just like, hey, if nobody sign up, like New York, and that's the trip part. We put it out there to New York. Uh, Nobody really even signed up for the tryout. So we're gonna have a game. But I
Yeah.
told him, I said, you know what? We're not gonna pay all this money just to have one or two people.
No need. Nah, it's really yeah. We because then we could be backtracking when we do that because then that could become a habit too. Like let's try one more time to see what happened. Like nah.
Nope,
Yeah.
not gonna do that. So we're gonna have our game in New York. We already made calls. There's people that's gonna be coming through, and it's gonna be lit. You know what I mean? And everybody gonna see what's up. Wisconsin is already cracky, or Milwaukee. They already like, yo, man, they're
We're
lining up.
waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it's gonna be a high level tryout, which we're gonna pick some players, and they're gonna get an opportunity to go to the DR. And then what we still got Virginia and we got Canada. So we're coming up to Canada, Coach Mike. JT. JT is he's gonna open up his gym. So
Yeah, there we go.
we're gonna come up to Canada in
Yeah.
December, and we're gonna have a showcase out there. So JT, he knows JT. You know what I mean? Gabe and JT are two of our guys that
Yep.
we took overseas. So JT and both of them are very well known and great businessmen in the training business out there. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So we're gonna go to Canada, and so now we was trying to give all of these different places, hey, let's give you a chance. Let's give you a chance. Oh, y'all don't really see the vision and understanding. It's okay. You know what I mean? We're gonna just keep it there. We'll come out and we'll play. You know what I mean? But when we start picking players, we're gonna pick the best 10 that we need. We're gonna go to the DR. We actually go to the Philippines. You know what I mean? Play the PBA, and then
Yeah.
we got Africa and Japan. You know what I mean? And that's my thing is saying we have legit opportunities. You know what I mean?
Man.
And I don't need to, I don't feel like we need to beg anybody, especially at $50. I'm like, come on, man.
Come on, man. It's $50. Can't beat 50.
Hey, so I mean, example, you have been on, bro. I met you down in Mexico.
Yep.
You know, not to say talking about how much you pay, but you was in a room full of folks that paid probably 200 to 300.
Yep. I think it was 250.
So
Yep. 250.
they're paying 250 for opportunity, and we say how many of those folks that got signed.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There is some people that did get some contracts, but you look at all of the folks that was there.
Nah, man, it's a lot of them that didn't even last 2 days.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So for us to say, okay, $50, come through, pay this and pay that, take care of your expenses and stuff, come through. If you really like that, come earn this spot, and then you get an opportunity to go to the DR. You know what I mean? If you're really nice, you can come and play for us, and we sign you, and we'll be your agent, and we're gonna make sure you get a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those where I just sit there and say, hey, it's mind blowing. You know what I mean? As you go through the process, because it's 12 years into the business, and you see how it works. You know, so and it goes back. If I'm your agent, why would you sign with me if I wasn't going to, you know what I mean, help you in your career? You know what I mean? That's the whole thing, right? So you don't just sign with somebody and say, okay, I'm a partner. You my agent, and I'm gonna be the face, and I'm gonna rock with you if it ain't gonna help your end goal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's just one of those things that folks can see too. My thoughts, everybody we talk to is like, okay, if you say N1 and who you are and all the folks we're knowing, like I said, main event and all of them, they showing us love. You know what I mean? For the pharmacists, we go down the list. That's who's showing us love. Well, if you're around those type of people, when you expect to be seen,
Mm-hmm.
if you got that kind of game, you're gonna get seen and you're gonna get opportunity. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those that, hey, throw it out there. Those who's watching, who may see it by what we say December. If you don't sign with us, or we don't find you by December, it is what it is, because now we're on. We got the TBL connections. We're going from there. We're going overseas. We're going summer league. We're going to Thailand. So we're just saying, hey,
If you're hungry, there's an opportunity. If you're not, just don't make a story up about it. That's all.
Right. A lot of opportunities, guys.
Right.
A lot of opportunities.
Right. Exactly.
a lot of opportunities. So, Coach Mike, I want to say thank you. It's 10:30. I'm gonna
Yeah.
let you go to sleep. I'm always on the grind as always. Yeah.
Right.
I know my man Ballaholic. I have him working double, triple shift. You know what I mean? He be at work, working again. I'm like, yo, Ballaholic, I need you to do. All right, I'm there, Coach. You know what I mean? Soon as he get to work, he trying to eat. I'm like, yeah, I need you to get. All right, Coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I just
go ahead, Mark.
Thank you guys for having me on, man. I appreciate the the opportunity to get on here and be able to it's just share some of my experiences and of the things that myself and Coach Ashley did together.
Yeah.
And even though I'm not full fledged into the biz, the one thing is that I'm always a phone call away or whatever, and and things can change like pretty quickly. And the thing is, I'm still a believer in the product, and I've invested time and money into, and I would never invest my time and money into something that I don't believe in. And it's nice meeting you there too, Ballaholic. It's like you sound like good people, man. And I think that's really what it's all about. And I think it's about just knowing Coach Ashley, like he wouldn't invest in someone time and money and resources into something that someone he didn't believe in. So I know people, man, and just off the hop, man, it's like, it's look forward to actually meeting you in person too, man. And we chop it up a little bit. So.
Oh no, definitely, Coach. Likewise, like I said, I mean, just hearing you talk and the vision that you had and what Coach Ashley said about just the nature of you being a scout and seeing something in another kid, that's someone I would love to play for, and that's I've always been like that since like I was in high school. But the fact that you and Coach Ashley have a background, you know what I mean, and you guys go way back. It's already love. It's already, and I told that to Coach Ashley. Everybody who he's talked to they always had something great and positive to say about him. So I know that, what I mean, every time you bring someone on, it's like, all right, somebody else is going to be real cool on for the meet.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's been like that consistent. So it's like the list is going down to all the cool, awesome people I'm meeting, whether it be the owners, the coaches, the players. And you are one of those coaches. And just listening to the advice and the experience that you have, as well as being a coach and giving guys opportunity and just having the experience of being on earth way longer than me. You know what I mean? It's definitely an honor, and I appreciate just hearing you talk as well too, Coach. So I definitely appreciate it, Coach Mike.
Yeah, for sure, man. So once again, I'm actually heading down your way, actually, Coach Ashley. I got my VA stuff. I actually have to go down. I actually got to go down and do some VA stuff there on Friday.
Friday? Oh, okay. Shoot, yeah. We might have to link up before because we're gonna probably, like I said, looking to fly out Sunday. We're gonna do a quick turnaround. Don't make no sense, you know what I mean, for us to hang out. We're gonna go handle business. Go boom.
Right back.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Have our meet. Boom. We're gonna come back, and then we go. We got to turn around and be in
Milwaukee. Is that?
Milwaukee, I'll be a piece.
Hey, Ballaholic. So where are you based out of right now?
I'm in San Francisco right now, California, Bay Area.
Oh, okay. You in the Bay Area? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's a hop, skip, and jump away anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a little flight away, man. That's actually.
Coach Mike, we gonna have to do something. You remember for your kids out there.
Oh yeah.
So I love to set up some with Ballaholic where we can do a camp.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That'd be good, man. You know what? And I'll look to because I'm kind of a homer, and and I definitely want to do it in our facility, just because it's like, yes, I could go do it in a bigger facility, but I just want to show them love for giving me love here, right? So, like, hey, you know what? It's my facility, like I manage it, and I've been running it, and so and I could just invite some other people to come here to be at our facility, man. So Coach Ashley, he's been there at our facility, and it's in good shape, and it's a small one, but it's definitely homey though, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let us, let's set that up. I love to
sure.
out there. We do some camps, clinics like we did last time. You know what I
Right.
mean? Something for the kids out there. So
Yeah.
like I said, that's when it's all said and done, it's bigger than basketball.
That's right.
It's about pointing to the next generation, the young folks. So we'll get that on the schedule. So this is, I had to get Ballaholic. When I get my pen and my glasses, I'm working.
Yeah.
So we got to get that on the schedule.
Oh, man, that's funny.
Yes, I'm gonna let y'all get some rest, and everybody, y'all. I thank y'all for tapping in the Streetball to Pro. We're gonna be
Coach, yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
All right.
Next time.
Okay. All right then.
Till next time, Coach.
Yeah. All right. All right.
All right.
All right.